Times are hard, times are tough, times are rough, time is up.
A very nice image of this big changeover from instruction to discovery. Think of the Go-Go Girls, the discotheques. Here you have an amazing dramatization of human frustration in this great information age. The old repetitive beat, the cage, the environmental job-like cage, and the repetitive beat in this, all these energies bottled up in the old culture. The Go-Go Girl is trying to tell us very loud and clear that the old mechanical technology behind us will not serve as a means of controlling or releasing the energies in the electronic age. But let me come back to a basic theme. Every new technology, and this is always true, it's true now, every new technology creates a new environment. Instant information creates involvement. Instant coverage to any set of events when the feedback and when the event and the feedback become simultaneous. New environments created by new technologies are always invisible. What people see in the new environment is the old one. One of the things, by the way, that happens when you put an information environment around the whole planet is that the globe becomes a little round schoolhouse and becomes a teaching machine. And we go on talking about classrooms and programmed instruction in classrooms when the planet itself has become a little round schoolhouse.
Of the mind. Passable, passerby, net, goal, internet, whole, brain half, left, right, capital, cooperate, carbo, hydrate, never change, winning team, dare to dream. Track sleep, track steps, track habits, track life, tricks of the mind. Sleepwalk, restless, breathless, risk taker, chance maker, downfall. Sunshine, spine bend, tennis elbow, mouse arm, overtime. Track sleep, track steps, track habits, track life, tricks of the mind. Game over, man under, flavor, lover, nervous, system, regimen, structure, fear of flights, fear of heights, fear of fear. Elevate, elaborate, morals, mortals, portals. Open source, fountain of youth, high aims, high games, high highs, goodbye. Track sleep, track steps, track habits, track life, tricks of the mind. Fitness, fatless, fearless. Flights, heights, sights worth seeing, proceed to gate. You're late. Wristwatch, watch out. An eye for an eye, an egg for a hen, a there for a then, a where for a when, or simply why. Track sleep, track steps, track habits, track life, tricks of the mind. Lovers, losers, loners, followers. Times are hard, times are tough, times are rough, time is up. Work less, play hard, last to leave, and first to arrive.
The environment, they were art about programming your environment, but that was a natural effect under the satellite unconscious. So that they were just advocating merging with the new environment. They had no way of providing detachment, and that would be the Gutenbergian value, detachment in a global orgy of involvement that McLuhan sought to represent. He found a way to be detached. But it's not just a literate detachment, it's attachment and involvement at the same time. So he said, let's use the computer to program whole cultures with the technological unconscious. So that was a detached managerial position, but it would require much involvement of gathering data about what was happening to societies around the world and determining whether they needed a good dose of radio or a good dose of newspaper or a good dose of literacy or a dose of television. So that was the most advanced form of the traditional form of the original artist. So McLuhan was a great poet, but he had turned it into a comprehensive technological management. Nobody saw that as poetry. Poetry was people ranting in mosh pits, hip-hop poetry, or conventional writing for small magazines, or maybe Charles Bukowski, his style of writing a column for the LA Free Press. The point is that the Gutenberg form of poetry, those that even established national awards for that, had no clue that the real poetry was on a whole other level, and that's what we'll call McLuhan's work. You have the Barbara Kruger. You have artists in the 80s and 90s starting to use sloganeering and public communication media like Times Square to create an art form around billboards and posters and sloganeering, but they were just following in McLuhan's footsteps. He had already done that. And what's interesting, he had made a slogan that became a school of thought, school of perception, something that you could write PhDs on. That's the detachment. They were trying to occupy the characteristic of literate detachment, the traditional ivory tower view of the artist. And Marshall said the artist had to move to the control tower. Yes. So he countered the art world by claiming that advertising was the greatest artistic achievement in the 20th century. It's interesting that Andy Warhol, Frank Zappa, and some of the great artists started off in advertising, and then they went into the leisure society and provided entertainment for the new consumers who were interested in culture as business. Culture is Our Business is the title of one of McLuhan's books. So McLuhan was always analyzing how the art world in particular was expressing an unconscious process, whereas the Gutenberg artist, going back 100 years, prided on itself tapping into the new unconscious. That's why they were fascinated by Freud and Jung and used those ideas in modernist art. They thought they were tapping into an unconscious and that art could express it accurately. They did not realize, none of the artists realized that there was a larger unconscious happening. Only McLuhan discovered that. And so I say the real art form, if you're going to contemplate art in the Gutenberg sense, you would study someone like the mind of Marshall McLuhan. You would study his mind and his creativity, not as an art critic, but as someone who is an art phenomenon in itself.
Let me come back to the hunter theme for a moment in this regard. The hunter lived in a world, tribal world, in which men, by various rituals, made the cosmos. Primitive people thought that they programmed and ran the universe. They didn't think of themselves as occupants caged inside a big cosmos that had been handed to them. They thought of themselves as the makers of their environment. This is happening now again with electronics. The electronic man makes his environment. He's no longer a simple occupant or in a container of the old environment. That's why the go-go girl in her cage is really an image of the old setup and ludicrously unrelated to the electronic age. But tribal man always thought that his dances and his rituals made the world and kept it going. Now, the age of the Neolithic age, the age of the specialist, is over, and that's why we talk of nothing but specialism. It's all that appears in the rearview mirror. But the age of the specialist is over. The man of the total field, the total awareness, is here. And that's invisible, because that's environmental. But the Another peculiarity of the environment is that it is totally involving, and that helps to make it even more invisible. But one of the, again in PR terms, one of the major changes that's come into the world with the electronic environment as a total surround is that the audience becomes workforce instead of being target for campaigns. Participation by feedback is indicated in this new electric environment. The electric environment creates a feedback because it is a circuit, whereas the old environment was mainly based on the wheel, yielding to the circuit, and the circuit has a built-in sort of feedback, fold-back-in pattern, which is what brings us to the end of the Neolithic age and plunges us into a new kind of age of the hunter again, in which we have a relation to the total environment as a necessity.
It's Ionic 101.
Right. Their dances and rituals make the world. Make their world.
And that's what
their
Ion
proportions,
is saying.
their harmonics, and everyone, their sense of participation in that was the world.
That's right. But you get the point, Dave, is that that is what Ion says the majority of history has been. Literacy got people away from that, perceiving that. Now we're back into it. We've been through the 20th century. We make the world in pattern recognition, and now Ion has come forth to come onto another level of the making process. But you see, McLuhan is the closest. His crazy talk is the closest to what Ion says. Ion's telling you individually, you make the world. You make your world. What philosopher besides McLuhan is saying that?
The subconscious is, of course, not an individual or private structure. It is corporate, total, and embraces the entire human family. But if you put the subconscious outside by instant information, you have a very different set of factors and parameters from consciousness. So now that we have put the subconscious outside, we begin to see in the rearview mirror the opposite, the old environment, not the new one. Technically, though, I think you'll find that electronics puts not consciousness, but the subconscious outside in the environment.
Any thoughts?
Movement of information creates detachment. Instant information creates involvement in depth. One of the hidden factors in our environment today is this. When you have an instant information structure, you put outside as your environment the human subconscious. We tend to talk about the increase of consciousness during this electric phase. What is increasing enormously is the subconscious. That is our new environment.
Hello. My name is live in the UK for a while to reply to your account. After the war in the UK for a while to get back. But I guess you could let me down for you to contribute to a feeling it was a good time to spare. Oh, I can draw a line, and I would love it if you have any questions at all times to allow for the best and the same as last year. I have a good day out in the screening space for the delay, but did I tell you? I love you so much better than this. Yeah, she's nice. I don't know her very well, as the world seems inexplicably beautiful, even though you know there's very little time to spare parts from delaying replying to your account after the war in the UK. For a drink in the UK, to not be able to apparently to do it, to be... I have a plan, I said, but you had already understood. Look up and see. What did the stars say?
statistically, if you are born on January, the same as the best way forward of getting a little, statistically, if you are born on January the 16th personality, intimate relationships in childhood reproduce social media marketing, with more than happy to do so is the same as a whole lot of time to spare parts and relying to a lifetime guarantee that the lifetime supply of my friends and family who counts as a body. I imagined it against your skinny friend, and I will not be able to get the best way forward. It's not the only way to do the right now, and I will be in touch by the morning and a bit more. Oh, I know what you think. I'm feeling this anxiety disorder in a few weeks back, and the Who is a great day out with we speak together of our missing parts. You see what you believe. That the company has also worked on it, and on the other side effects of the highlight of my favourite friends Clem to be around the world. And okay, so I said, delete aspiring writer and start again, because love is not the absence of fear in Gone to the Right, to the opening of a problem with the ox, at the same time is we speak together of our missing parts, and you see what you believe, that when you're inside me again, everything will make sense of humour. And you can have a look at my website for more info on my work. And of course, get back to me if you have any questions at all times to allow for the best way forward in hearing to more about the delay and replying to your home. The only way I can do this is for me to say, I'm still alive, so I'm still in this battle. Look up and see. What do the stars say? A dream told me that the new year, by the time we are in touch with us and you will be put in touch towards the end result, it's excellent. For example, I just want to be exceptional to you, and then on the other hand, I will be in the morning to you by my lifetime supply of friends and family who counts as a body. I imagine it, and I would love it if I could see the full range. And then we can say, a dream told me that robot servants are going to make your life easy, then they'll ruin it. Turn conversations, and I am writing to the opening of my friends, Cleo, to turn conversations into conversions. Kiss Kiss Erica, the same as the best way to go to bed, and breakfast, and a few minutes walk away to the invisible. Setting up, it started with, who is secretary to the invisible, feeling very uncomfortable to be around someone expressing our shadow energies. Hello, my name is on the way to get a free contact with you. But joyous cries of nothingness. Yes, the best way of doing anything is to say, okay, because love is okay, delete and start again. Love is not the absence of fear in Gone to the Right to Now, and I have to be in touch to say, you want the freedom factor? Distressing self-improvement downloads, and on the other hand, I will be in touch with you and ask and let me know. And how about you can be credited or anonymous, as you prefer, to use the search box above to refine your search for the result in the morning project that will be able to get to the best way forward. Who counts as a body? Release yourself from bondage to Apple Aftercare customer service. And I will not be able to get the very best. Erica Scorty assumed that with the best job in, yeah, she's nice, I don't know her that well, but I imagined that you can't always do what you want. I imagined it against your skinny. I love it is with the best of luck to you, that I have put it together. The setting sun, a Skype wall between us. It started raining tweet bombs of salt. Because love is not the absence of fear. In Gone to Bed with a bit more than a few days, and then the next few weeks back to me. It was the last few weeks back, and it will take place at this stage of your account job search for what is not a problem with the same as the ghouls. And I have put together the same as the previous. I was a ghost before you came back from this dream. Told me that, oh, I know what you think, I'm feeling this anxiety disorder in a few weeks back in the screening space, near my own business, in touch with the BBC, the cloud computing facilities, and a half day. And I have put together the best way of doing this. You put it down to a feeling that this is the most popular properties in the UK for a while to reply to your account. But a lifetime supply of my friends said it's just so much more ink into the ocean, cracked up through another fucking growth opportunity to purchase a copy of your choice of accommodation to the hotel space, and the same in a few minutes ago to say a ghost in the screening space. And look up and see, what do the stars say? Statistically, the best of the blue and green and yellow, gold and silver lining. I'm almost done. What do you believe is the most of my favourite colour? It's not rated yet. One another of our missing you, and thanks to the opening ceremony at the end of the UK, the cloud computing to the opening, too much of the highlight of my friends. And there was something I meant to say, it's just that there's so much love into the ocean, because love is not the absence of, okay, I'll start again and say, who counts as a body? I imagined it would be possible to get in touch because it started raining tweet bomb assaults, and love has not been, something's not right, something's not gone right. The time is up, okay, the time is up. But one just last thing is, we'll speak again sooner than you think, but thanks for your time. It went quicker than I thought. Okay, we're done. Done, thank you.
The subconscious is a world in which we store everything, not something. Consciousness is a relatively specialized area. We can't attend to everything at the same time. The subconscious takes in everything at once. It contains images and experience of the whole human race from the beginning of time. It is all simultaneous and present. Electronics is like that. It makes everything simultaneous and present, which is the very formula for the human subconscious, not consciousness. So now, in PR terms, think, what does it mean to live in an environment which has all the characteristics of the individual subconscious?
Thanks to the corpus callosum.
We are living in a very peculiar situation that you could call the age of information. We have representatives of it here in strength. The information age, though, has, like any other complete environment, many hidden dimensions. And one of the most hidden dimensions about the age of information is that it is the age of the hunter. The hunter is back. The hunter is the man who does not work on little strips of culture, but plays the total field. That's the world of James Bond. That's the world of the electronic total information environment. Because our children go to schools where they have the old strip culture, the old fragmented subject matters and so on, without any interconnection, without any sense of total field. We live in an information environment in which the functions of education are no longer instruction but discovery. The total environment is made of information, then it is an absurd waste of time to spend all your time in instruction. Discovery is far more rewarding. With electronic instant information, you have a dateline but no storyline, no special message, just a totally involving environment.
And love has not been, something's not right, something's not gone right. The time is up, okay, the time is up. But one just last thing is, we'll speak again sooner than you think.
Game over.
Time, it went quicker than I thought. Okay, we're done. Done, thank you.
The subconscious or dream world of man is a world of overlaid transparencies and simultaneities in which mythic forms are born. We are living today in the world of myth. We are still trying to think back in the old 19th century forms of storyline. Myth means a simultaneous world of images overlaid. We live mythically, we think 19th century style. Now, PR was avant-garde. It was the first effort to consciously take the age of information and to use it as a man-made environment for making things visible. It was an educational enterprise to create visibility for otherwise invisible things.
Okay. So we point out that there are no spectators in the global theater. Well, right today, there is no global theater. But going back a few decades, when there were no spectators in the global theater, that meant everybody was an actor and everybody was contributing. But that was slowly replaced by the android meme. So the android meme became the actor and its parts. And the drama conflict within its parts became the actors. And the chemical body was no longer involved in the theatrical presentation. Let's see. So during the android meme phase, now you'll be able to edit out in between parts, so I'll create a little space. During the android meme phase, as we witnessed it oscillate between retrieved spectatorhood and dithyrambic actor, as we, Indom, snuck up on it, we retrieve the comprehensive human as in an environment. So maybe you have to do that. Let me just see about, it's not an actor, it's not a spectator. Yeah, I'm going to do that, maybe do that again. Mm-hmm. We retrieve the disappeared chemical body as an unenvironment, what Ion calls the mystery landscape becoming known. The unenvironment is a very important phrase. We're not at any environment. We're not the environment. We are not even a perceptible situation. But we can be consumed. The effects of it can't be perceived. And of course, Ion is the first unenvironment that speaks about its drama.
And so a prophet is simply a person who has a technique for looking at the future, and that is the peculiar function of artists. Artists are people who specialize in looking at the present. They're not much interested in the rearview mirror, the old familiar scenes and situations. One of the new developments in art in that regard, you see, is to regard pop art, is to regard the environment itself as an art form. Pop art simply tells you, avant-garde style, that the human environment is already an art form and has to be programmed as such. The human environment can be programmed as a teaching machine. It can become a form of total instruction. But we tend to still be back in the 19th century phase of classrooms, educational television, instruction rather than discovery, and so on. The effect of the medium is quite different from the content. But the content is all you see. What is really happening to you, you don't see until much later.
I will now unmute.
All participants are now unmuted.
Are you finding this interesting?
Beautifully expressed.
Beautifully expressed.
Amazing.
You want more?
Yes.
You asked for it. Okay, let's see. Created an abstract rationalism inseparable from the new dominance of the left hemisphere. McLuhan comes back. He says, this individualism may be what made Greco-Roman institutions attractive to Christianity, since Christian revelation stresses the private responsibility of all individuals in its doctrine of the resurrection. The phonetic alphabet creates the only environmental services and institutions which foster the dominance of the left hemisphere. The dominance of the left hemisphere, analytic and quantitative, entails the submission or suppression of the right hemisphere. And so, for example, our intelligence tests exist only for measuring left hemisphere achievement and take no cognizance of the existence of the qualitative right hemisphere. The present electronic age, in its inescapable confrontation with simultaneity, presents the first serious threat to the 2,500-year dominance of the left hemisphere. There are a variety of factors which can give salience or dominance either to the right, simultaneous and acoustic, hemisphere of the brain, or to the left, lineal and visual hemisphere. No matter how extreme the dominance of either hemisphere in a particular culture, there is always some degree of interplay between the hemispheres.
The planet is now the content of a man-made environment.
Thanks to the corpus callosum, that part of the nervous system which bridges the hemispheres. Thanks to the corpus callosum.
To say that art is dead is not effective enough. We got to designate different kinds of art. So you've got the chemical body art, and that is what people are saying is dead. The chip body art has now become archetypal status. So you would say the chip body art is inadequate, so defined. But if you discuss it as archetypal, in other words, having gone through the larger repetitive pattern that the population experiences, because when something is first obsolete, it tends to become art form. But when that repetitive formula and process happens over and over, the art form becomes archetypal. So the chip body as archetype is still expressed. It's called art, but it's really the archetypal phase that we're witnessing at Transmediale this past year. The art that Eindem is making would not be seen as art. It's actually the last word, meaning it's invisible, imperceptible part of the present. So we have not and do not seek to be the art form status or the later archetypal status at this point. We want to remain in the invisible, effective, unconscious of people for as long as we can. It'll be interesting what supersedes us and turns us into an art form. At this point, we do not see that happening. We may remain an invisible environment for a very long time. That would be unique. Most technological environments become art forms pretty quickly, at least over the last 100 years.
What's happening is your intended position from a cloud representation trumped what reality said that was. That's how we're now able to shift things around and change your history. Now all of a sudden everything that was good is bad, everything that's bad is good, everything that was up was down, everything over is under. There you go. Perspective, 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 perspective.
Any thoughts?
Okay.
Subcommandant Bob. none of it works as much as the new anti-environment, which is Iondom. So
Times are hard, times are tough, times are rough, time is up.
that's about it.
Game over.
I think that's it.